Isn't Portuguese just another way to speak Spanish? I've heard that Portuguese is just like Spanish, but what does distinguish the Portuguese from it? And have I ever heard Portuguese and did I think that it was another language? Hello, my name is Cleydson and I speak Portuguese. Actually, as a Brazilian, I speak the Brazilian Portuguese. If you don't know the differences between the Portuguese from Brazil and the Portuguese from Portugal, just click on the link down below. And I made a video just about that. Believe it or not, Portuguese has been mistaken by Russian. Yeah, so let's start by that. I always wondered why would anyone on earth to think that Portuguese is Russian? What? And I found that probably most of the people who thought that Portuguese was Russian, it was whether the Portuguese from Portugal or Portuguese from Rio, or, which I think is a little bit more difficult, is the Portuguese from where I live, Recife, which is a town in the northeast of Brazil. So I think Rio will be easier. Although Rio is the postcard from Brazil, most of the Brazilians kind of have the Portuguese from São Paulo as a reference. And if you heard someone speaking Portuguese around you or on the media, it was probably something that reminded you not you, but would remind me more of the Portuguese from São Paulo. Portuguese itself has a lot of sh sounds. These sh sounds is what we call chiado. I found a video which explains very well not just the chiado sound, but the comparison between Portuguese and Russian. So click on the other link down below in the description. I really recommend that. That was very nice. But okay, what kind of chiado is this one? The kind of sound that you have in words such as machine, for example. In Portuguese, you have words which are already meant to have this sh sound, such as chá, which means tea, and chuva, which means rain. If you listen to most of Brazilian Portuguese speakers, they would say the plural of these words this way: chá, chás, chuva, chuvas. People from Portugal and Rio and other places like the town where I live would pronounce this way: chá, chás, chuva, chuvas. The town where I live, like Rio, had a lot of influence directly from Portugal, and the rest of Brazil had a lot of other influences which were probably stronger, like languages from Africa, from Indians, and a lot of etc. Other sound that might remind people of the Russian is the E sound. This is something which is not exclusive from Portuguese, but if you already think that the sh sound reminds you of Russian, the E sound will just make this belief stronger. You can find these words very often in words just like você, which means you, and fazer, which means do. But on the other hand, something that makes the Portuguese a little bit different from Spanish and more similar to French is that you have like open and closed vowels. What is that? Closed vowels are just like the ones you just heard, like você, fazer. But in Portuguese, just like in French, you have, besides the closed vowels, you have the open vowels, which can make a word totally different from another. For instance, if you want to say grandpa, in Portuguese you say vô. But if you want to say grandma, you'll say vó. Did you see any difference? Vô, grandpa. Vó, grandma. Vô, vó. Vô, vó. And I don't need to tell you the importance of distinguishing these two sounds. Do I? Another thing that makes Portuguese similar to French is the sounds which come from your nose. Just like não, which means no, and mãe, which means mother. Não, mãe. And as you might have noticed, yes, some things that you put above the letters make the sounds change. Another thing that can change everything is the way you say things, which makes Portuguese a bit more like Italian. You don't have in the structure anything that indicates to people that you are going to ask a question or just do an affirmation besides the intonation. And as you might have noticed, Brazilians are a bit tactile as well. We are like kinetic. And a big amount of what you say is beyond the words, is in the way you say it. For example, it is very common if you are walking on your way and someone just goes through your way and say to a friend, Fulano, que saudade de ti, meu querido. And that's not Italian, that's Portuguese. Is there anything missing? Oh yes! Portuguese is similar to Spanish indeed. If you read Portuguese, it will just be too close to Spanish. We used to say that they are sibling languages. And everything is so close, like the structure, like the writings. But I would say that the most similar characteristics is the stress. Yes, the stress. In Portuguese, it's like the strongest part of the word is the one before the last one, if it has like two parts or more. Example, curta esse vídeo e até logo. Like this video and see you soon.